It is often hard to put into words the feelings that arrive when playing a game that surpasses its expectations. Yes, I knew Far Cry 5 would be the biggest game yet. Yes, I knew it would star one of the best antagonists in the series. And yes, I knew it would touch on rather controversial themes of which many of us are in the dark about. What I did not know is that even hours after the climactic ending, I would still question the game in so many ways. It is almost as if the bliss got to me and it found its way into my mind, making me believe everything the Seed family stood for. Throughout Far Cry 5, I questioned their intentions many times, through the propaganda on the radio and through the excellent cutscenes, but I did not know what an impact it would have on my views on society. Not many games are able to do this, and I have to commend Far Cry 5 for that. But the game is so much more than just a good story. It's an explosive and deep FPS that I found myself so engrossed in hours after completion. Many open world games I leave behind once completed, but there's a magic in Far Cry 5 and its world, characters, action and its story, all of which oozes from every crevice in the game. Set in Hope County, Montana, you take the role of a nameless deputy that gets stranded in this now communist-like state after attempting to arrest Joseph Seed for hijacking under the intentions to harm. Joseph Seed and his family lead an organization called Eden's Gate, who believe the end times is coming after their leader, Joseph Father Seed, speaks to God himself.
Despite all that you have done, you are not beyond salvation.
The whole family are just one bunch of messed up people. Faith the manipulator and the adopted sister controls the creation of bliss, an air-induced drug that causes delusions and takes over one's mind.
They don't understand. But he does. He'll show you.
John is the brains of the cult. He believes that your sins need to be torn off your flesh after being tattooed on you in order for you to convert into a member of the cult. We then have Jacob, who is the man behind the muscle. He controls all the guns and weaponry in the state.
Strong. Over and over. The lives of the many have outweighed the lives of the few. This is how we survived.
Last but not least, there's Joseph, the leader of Eden's Gate and the man behind the entire organization. Eden's Gate slowly bought up all the farms in Hope County, and as they took over them, they become more and more powerful. They now control everything and everyone except for a select few individuals, which form the resistance.
And behold, it was a white horse.
Hope County, Montana is as American as it could possibly be. Think American but with added American and then an extra dash of American sauce on top of that. Each of the three regions has a distinctive look and feel to it. From the gorgeous Whitetail Mountains that offers breathtaking views and rivers to sit near and fish, all the way to Falls End, a typical American one-horse town with a bar, a church and some rather backwards people walking the streets. Far Cry 5's world is the biggest to date, but it does not feel very big to the player due to the sheer amount of things to see and do. Every region is packed with towns and scrapyards, farms and depots, and of course lodges and bunkers. The world is a crucial part of making Far Cry 5 so wonderful, and it goes above and beyond anything in the past. It may be the biggest, but it also felt the most alive. After a rather explosive opening and an hour of learning the ropes, Hope County is yours to explore to your heart's content. Divided into 3 sections, you can go anywhere and start bringing down each family member's hold on the area the way you want to. Faith controls the creation of bliss in Henbane River, Jacob resides in the Whitetail Mountains, and John controls the farmlands in Holland Valley. Far Cry 5's open world is so brilliantly crafted that you'll know exactly where you are just by looking around you. The Whitetail Mountains are littered with forest trails and hiking paths. Tall trees scatter the mountains and rivers and lakes are always around you. Holland Valley, which is John Seed's region, is filled with farmlands. Huge silos are seen in the distance and planes fly through the air as you explore the open fields. Henbane River, which is Faith's home, is a much drier and rockier region. She controls the Bliss farm, so the land is scattered with this moonflower-like plant. Of course, you also have this huge statue of the father himself, smack bang in the middle of all of it, overlooking his land. Exploring each of these regions was one of the best parts of the experience. There's so much to do and see that it's very easy to get caught up in all the distractions. Even hours after the game, I'm still discovering new locations and completing side activities. Like all Far Cry games, activities are never scarce, and Far Cry 5 goes above and beyond to create a new variety of things to do and see without making any of them feel like a chore. There's an equal amount of outposts to conquer in each region, a good 50 plus amounts of side quests to take on, and various cult objects to destroy the way you want to. I never once felt like I was being tasked to do anything I did not want to do, and once you've taken on a quest, you are free to do it as you please. The entire experience is very laid back, which pays tribute to the country way of life to some degree. It also helps that the entire game is filled with characters that are both memorable and great to get to know.
You're right. She took that real well.
Out.
I make close reference to the GTA series here, as many games fail to execute memorable characters the way Rockstar does in their GTA series. You meet someone and you get to know them through good conversations, their backstories and their intentions. You also remember doing that specific task for that specific person, and Far Cry 5 just has that same vibe to it. There are dozens of people to meet, and each of them are all unique in their own way and play a role in society or the resistance. If it was not rushing Kim to the hospital to have her baby, it was collecting roadkill for Chad to use on his barbecue. Wheaty is in charge of the radio stations and he wants new vinyl tracks to play, and George collects baseball cards. These are all minor characters that you meet once, do a quest for, and never see them again. The love put into each of them to not only make them look unique, but sound and act in their own way is truly remarkable.
And show them no mercy. Stay with me. Didn't go through all this trouble just to lose you now.
Main characters are also voiced well, and they grow on you from the moment you meet them. Many times my heart was racing as I truly thought I was going to lose one of them to the Seed family. While some of them did not make it out alive, the depth of each character and the impact on a player is an extremely rare occurrence even after knowing them for a short while.
You know, this plane's been in my family for 3 generations. Can you believe that?
Your companions go a step further as they are by your side whenever you need them. Herc, which you might remember from Far Cry Primal and Far Cry 4, makes his return in the 5th game and is as hilarious as ever. His openness and rawness in his voice dialogues are one of a kind. Grace Armstrong, the ex-mercenary, is hardcore to the bone and comes across very cold in her ways. We then have the animals like Cheeseburger the Bear, Boomer the dog, and Peaches the cougar. Each companion has their own unique trait that comes in handy throughout the game. If you prefer stealth, then Jess Black and Peach's combo would be ideal, but if you want guns blazing, then Herc and his RPG and Adelaide and her machine gun equipped helicopter will do the job. Companions are not as useless as in the past games, and while they're still not perfect, the roles you give them when taking an outpost or mission are executed pretty well. I took control of many outposts without even walking into the area. I just stood back from a distance with my binoculars out and targeted enemies for Jess and Peaches to kill. Peaches crept in and took them down while Jess shot them with arrows from a distance. It was smooth sailing, and it was a pretty great way to make sure the attention is not on you if you do want to sneak in while they draw the fire. Later on in the game you can use 2 companions at a time, so the options are pretty open for you. Far Cry has always been known for its gunfights, and Far Cry 5 is almost perfect in that regard. Weapons are plenty with LMGs, pistols, bows and arrows, grenade launchers and much more. Nothing new to what you would expect though, but it works, so why change it? Heading into a fight you can stealth enemies from behind, above or below, or even take them out from a distance with arrows or a silent sniper rifle. Throwables include proximity bombs, molotovs, grenades, throwing knives and more, and all of these can be crafted on the go if you have the correct materials for them. The guns combined with the throwables and the addition of the companions make every single encounter and mission in Far Cry 5 different from the last. It is truly fantastic, and if you ever feel like you're getting bored, then you can just change things up with a quick inventory makeover, new companions, and then there you go, it feels like a brand new game. While the enemy variety is lacking a bit compared to past games, there's enough to keep your combat on the edge of your seat. Flamethrower equipped goons are tough to kill, and the heavy machine gun mercs are even tougher. I would hate to say it, but I did wish for a bit more enemy types, but seeing as the game does not limit you with any sort of difficulty wall, you have to expect the same level of enemies and types throughout the game. That is to say, the game has some rather tough fights as the Colt pack a punch. Some fights had heavy mercs with angels, crazy zombie-like people with bats, and snipers. To handle all of this, you have to really think about what you're doing and how. funds are all purchased through shops that you find in the game. Money is hard to come by, and Far Cry 5 probably has the most refined economy to date. You don't just get thousands of dollars to spend like in past games. This time you have to really work for it by doing specific things. Missions, clearing outposts, and even saving a hostage from the side of the road will give you some dollars. But the best reward comes from a new feature called Prepper Stashes. In an attempt to prepare for the cult's takeover, people of Hope County have stored money and other items away in areas that are out of the reach for a typical person. You, not being a typical person, can get there, but there's always a catch. These prepper stashes offer puzzles, unique parkour, and make use of the environment around you to deliver fantastic exploration and discovery. One of the most notable prepper stashes was at the top of the silo, and in order to get there, I had to slide all the way down a mountain and complete a few platforming areas to get to it. Another one saw me venture into a hot spring cave with boiling water, where I had to carefully grapple my way across the water to get to the end in order to find the stash. These activities are plenty in the game, and they're all carefully crafted to deliver a backstory about the person who left the stash there. Perks in Far Cry 5 act as the skill tree. These buff specific features of your character, like the ability to carry more ammo or increased health. They are divided across various categories, and depending on the player you are will depend on what you invest in first. Prepper stashes offer these perk points. The game also has a wide variety of challenges to complete that will reward you with these points too. These challenges are also fun and exciting to complete, and range from killing a certain enemy with a set of different weapons, to catching specific fish and even hunting down animals like bears and elks. The challenges don't come back when you complete them, which makes them a great completionist goal in the game. I had a couple of challenges left when I finished the game, so it just goes to show how easy they are to complete. Ubisoft has gotten rid of the material crafting system for gear this time, and it definitely works. Instead of having to find pelts to increase your ammo pouch, you buy the perk instead. It is a simplified system, and I think it will go down pretty well. Each region in the game has to be completed to a certain degree to unlock the showdown between you and the leader. This is measured in resistance points and is earned by doing everything from killing cult leaders to blowing up silos with the cult's logo on them. The best part about this is that you can simply just play the game, and before you know it, you're ready for the fight. Once you get past, you can move on or carry on finishing up the area as you wish. It makes for a great way to spend your time, and it helps that the game is so dense with unique activities to do. Far Cry 5's story is a roller coaster of emotions, and a tense one in fact. The villains are unbelievably deep and layered with each confrontation, leaving me questioning my own sanity. The way it all played out, it went beyond my expectations. I started to believe in what they did, and there were times where I thought Joseph could have a point to this world being blinded and manipulated by the government. They're crazy, but what makes it so scary is that they don't know they are crazy, and in fact they believe that they're right. To me, this is the worst type of villain. Ubisoft successfully created 4 fully fleshed out people in a video game that I became obsessed with.
This is the only way the story ends. Nothing you can do can change that.
I wanted to kill them, but I also just wanted to hear them express why they're doing what they're doing. In the end, I loved every single person I met. They were all memorable, whether or not I wanted to just put a bullet in their head. And to me, that is a true design feat, especially in an open world game.
Stealing our land and kidnapping our friends and doing God knows what else?
Kim.
Nick, your grandfather built this place. You really want to turn your back on that?
We then have co-op, which is pretty much as the feature states, a co-op experience with a friend. It works well, it's hella fun, and I can see myself doing much of it in the future. Progress is not carried over to your game if you join a friend, but perks, weapons, and anything that you collect will be. This makes for a great way to farm some dollars, or even perk magazines from those awesome prepper stashes. Last but not least, we have the Far Cry Arcade, which is the creation tool in this game. The mode lets you use assets from various Ubisoft games to create maps and game modes to publish online or play with friends. I did not read the tutorial because I mean, who has time for that, and I successfully created a cool map. The mode has the ability to create a PvP and co-op experience the way you want to, and it's very easy to use. Placing objects and creating fog effects, water, and even changing the time of day or weather. The sky's the limit in this mode, and I really cannot wait to see what people create in it. This mode also acts as the game's main PvP mode, as you can head into any of the featured maps and play against other players in it. If that's not your thing, then you can also play a journey mode, which sees you going from start to finish. This will hopefully be the base for some cool parkour experiences in the future. There's also a survival mode too, that will let you and a friend try stay alive as hordes of enemies come at you. Again, this mode relies heavily on content creation, and while I did spend a good few hours building and playing some maps, the true creative juices are yet to arrive in the game, and it can only grow from here.
Joseph Seed.
They call him the Father.
And those in the outside world are blind. They do not believe. They have no faith. But I will make them see.
Far Cry 5 is a jewel. To create a world so filled with personality, scatter it with memorable people and experiences, and top it off with a group of villains from the likes you've never seen before is truly remarkable. Everything from start to finish feels authentic and oozes with love and passion. Joseph Seed will always remain one of the greatest villains of this generation for me, and to achieve the sheer level of detail across Far Cry 5 must have been an extremely daunting task. This is a new direction for Ubisoft, and I'm so happy to be here to see the studio go above and beyond anything they have created before.
Are you there? Is somebody there? Please.
I told you that God wouldn't let you take me.
Please. I need to know what's going on.
Dispatch?
Oh my God.
Everything is just fine here. No need to call anyone.
Yes, Father. Praise be to you.
No one is coming.